Hello, and welcome to the Hail Mary Joe 2 TDscorers show. I'm your host, Jose. And just like that, we're off to week number 7. Now, we didn't have much luck in week number 6, but let's just go over some numbers. Just to let you know that in 2023, in week number 6, there were a total of 2 multi-scores. And in week 2024, week 6, we had a total of 13. So a big increase, really big increase. Last week was definitely one of the most scoring points games that we've had, especially with the multi-scorers. But unfortunately, I had a lot of right teams with the wrong players on them. But you know what? That's part of the process, and that just means that the train of thoughts and my actions are getting there. They just haven't hit there. And that's what we're hoping to do this week, is we're hoping to hit there. So just to let you know, I picked one player for Thursday night's game, and I picked 3 other players for the Sunday's games. So it's a 4-picker. Now, please note, this is strictly what I'm doing and only what I'm doing, and I'm not authorized to give you financial advice with regards to betting. But I will give you a piece of advice when it comes to betting, that if you do decide to bet or gamble on sports, please note, please only gamble what you can afford to lose. Anything else is just stupid. Okay? So, here we go. Now, with Thursday night's game, we have the Denver Broncos going to New Orleans Saints. Now, I would prefer to pick a home team player, and I did. And on Thursday nights, it's just easier to pick the non-home team because of the travel, the extra time that they lose. But that's not saying that that's what you should always do. It's just a general rule, and today we did follow the general rule. Now, we have Spencer Rattler as the QB. Now, Spencer Rattler, I don't know if he was QB2 or QB3 with him on that team, the New Orleans Saints, because I didn't know where Taysom Hill fell into. Was he the QB2 or QB3? If Rattler was the QB3, I do know that he would have spent more times throwing the ball with this guy than he would have of any other player, because of how far down he was on the wide receiver depth chart. But because of the injuries that New Orleans has, he's now right up to, as far as I'm concerned, wide receiver 1 for the New Orleans Saints. And with the rapport that he had with Rattler, I think that there could be trust between these 2 players, and they will be able to hopefully hit on some targets this week. And there's no Patrick Surtain for the Denver Broncos. So I'm going with, are you ready? Bub Means for the New Orleans Saints, 2 touchdowns at plus 2,800. He had the most catches last week on any New Orleans player, and he had the most targets last week on any New Orleans player. Well, he was tied for targets and tied for catches. Him and Alvin Kamara were both 5 for 8. But he did get 45 yards out of it. He had the most yards, and he did get 1 TD. So I'm hoping that he parlays that into 2 TDs tonight against the Denver Broncos. So that's who player number 1 is. Now, player number 2 is going to be in the New England-Jacksonville game. Yes, Drake May played a pretty good game. This is going to be Drake May's second start. California boy Lawrence, I don't know what he's up to this year. He's not trustworthy, but I do know one thing, is that he's going to go to this player because he has in the past, and he did last week, and last week was his first game back since week number 1. So we're going to go with Evan Ingram for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 touchdowns at plus 1,600. Okay, so last week he was 10 for 10 for 102 yards and 0 TDs. He had the most catches, most targets on the team last week. And like I said, he hasn't played since week 1. So Evan Ingram, 2 touchdowns plus 1,600. The third player that I have on this ticket is going to be between Cincinnati at Cleveland. I don't trust Cleveland. They lost their best player anyways, Amari Cooper, offensive player, okay? And they're playing craps. So you got to go with somebody on the on the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, there's T. Higgins, you've got Jamar Chase, and you've got the 2 running backs, right? They're catching, but they're also catching most balls, and they're also getting all the touchdowns. But Andre Yoshevich has had a big game this year where he's had multiple touchdowns, and I think that at this time round he's going to have an opportunity this week Okay, because Higgins and Chase will be the targets that that Cleveland's defense is going to try and stop the most. So, year to date, Josevich is 14 of 23 for 189 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, he's the third wide receiver on that team, but he's also got the third most catches, and he's also got the third most targets. So, you know what? On that particular team, if they can slow down, shut down Chase and Higgins, that's going to leave Josevich for a better day. So, that's who we're going with this week. And the last player on this game, on this ticket, on ticket number 1, is going to be in the Tennessee to Buffalo game. No, I'm not taking Amari Cooper. Everybody's going to want Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's the best receiver they have. Plain and simple. Once he gets caught up to the verbiage and the plays that Buffalo is going to run and that he's going to be used in. So this week, I think he will be limited. And because he's going to be limited, he could be used as a decoy in the red zone, which is going to give this guy, who is a true wide receiver too. He was never wide receiver 1 on the team. And that's Curtis Samuel for Buffalo for 2 touchdowns at plus 7,000. Now, last week he was 3 for 4 for 44 yards, 0 TDs. Year to date, he's 12 for 17 for 92 yards and 0 TDs. So, you know, I think that he will get more usage and better usage out of them now that Shakir's not the wide receiver 1 or Samuel's not the wide receiver 1. They play a secondary role behind Amari Cooper, and I think so they're best suited and best to shine in that particular role. So that's who I'm going with, and we'll do a quick review for ticket number 1 for week number 7, and that's going to be Bud Means for New Orleans Saints, 2 TDs at plus 2,800. We have Evan Ingram for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 TDs plus 1,600. We're going to have Andre Josevich for Cincinnati Bengals, 2 TDs at plus 7,500. And we're going to have Curtis Samuel for Buffalo, 2 TDs plus 7,000. Enjoy the games, and I'll be back for Sunday's remaining games and players. Please enjoy, have fun.